recap of America's presidential election 2024. Hello, my name is Eliane Nicole. I'm your astrologer and tarot reader, and in this video I'm going to do a brief recap about the election now that everybody knows that Trump won the presidential election. I did a forecast video that I posted on my YouTube channel, Eliane Nicole, on September 29th, 2024. I recorded the video September 28th, 2024, but I had been seeing in the astrology that he was very likely to win since way back when Joe Biden was still in the running. I had even seen in the astrology, I did an accurate prediction of the exact date that Joe Biden would step down and that he would be replaced by a woman. So the planets and the stars have been very vocal and very clear about what's going on in American politics, as well as other things, but this video is about the politics in America. But now I'm going to do a recap video on some other things that I'm seeing about how this all rolls out through the spring, because the plot twists are not over. If you haven't already, go back and watch the video that I posted, the original forecast. I called it The Empire Strikes Back. But before I go on with this interpretation, I do want to say, if you're watching this on Instagram, I'm only going to post the first 5 minutes here. The entire video will be available on my YouTube channel, Eliane Nicole. My YouTube channel is my name, Eliane Nicole. Please find me there. I'll put a link in the profile bio of my Instagram to get there. Oh, and if you look on my Instagram, on the highlights on my profile page, there's a link to get directly to the first forecast video that I did about the election, The Empire Strikes Back, in the highlights on my Instagram page. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Please like, please comment, please share. It all helps me in the algorithm, helps me grow my channel, helps me grow my community, and puts me in a position to continue to give these free astrological offerings. If you're watching on Instagram, please like, please comment, please share. Again, helps me in the algorithm. It's free for you. It's extremely helpful to me. And now without further ado, I'm going to talk about the recap. So white supremacy prevails in America. Shocker. When you look at the percentage in the exit polls, wow, I mean, it's, the exit polls don't lie. Apparently, the polls of everybody else leading up to the election do lie. When I accurately predicted that Trump would win, I based it on reading the new moon chart of Scorpio, which that video is still up, but the new moon ingress charts always tell a story of the entire lunar cycle that we're entering. So in this case, that was November 1st, 2024 to November 30th. So I read the new moon chart. I read the election day chart. In both of those charts, it looked clear to me that Donald Trump was going to win. And then just to make sure, because by the way, I was getting a lot of pressure from people that I know, because most of my friends and family are Democrats, and I wasn't making the prediction that Trump would win based on my own politics. I was really trying to zoom out and really be an objective astrologer and just read what the cosmos were saying. And so I studied Donald and Kamala's charts too. And in both of their charts, with the astrology of the current times, it was clear to me that Donald Trump was going to win. That's why I was actually shocked when several of the astrologers I admire most, they put out forecast videos after the one I had recorded and posted on September 29th, and most of them were saying Kamala was going to win, which made me start second guessing myself, like, holy shit, these are astrologers I really respect. Like, did I get something wrong? And I had a really good friend even ask me, is there another way to read it? And so I was like, let me look, like I was considering doing a reread, but every time I looked at the astrology, I couldn't really see how people were predicting Kamala would win based on the astrology. Now, I could see how people would predict that based on what was going on in the media and what was going on in all of these weird polls that people were posting, but I could not see where people were coming to that in the astrology. There are similarities in Donald and Kamala's astrology. For instance, they both have strong Gemini energy, and Jupiter is currently in Gemini retrograde, and Jupiter, you know, is the planet of grace and good fortune. But Kamala's rising is like 27 Gemini, I think, and her North Node is 24. So she has a rising North Node conjunction in Gemini. But Trump has a Sun North Node conjunction in Gemini. They both have the North Node in Gemini. So Jupiter, the planet of grace and good fortune, was very close to both of their North Nodes, but it was right on top of Trump's, right on top. For Kamala, it almost got to her. Jupiter almost got to her, but turned around and went retrograde. And when I said turned around and went retrograde, astrologers know that planets don't really go backwards in the sky, but they appear to because of the speeds as we're circling the sun around the ecliptic. And so, but that appearance of retrograde from the vantage point of planet Earth has a very significant oracular meaning in divination. And so it appeared from the geocentric perspective that Jupiter was going to be on her rising and North Node, but then he headed backwards and he coronated Trump. The other thing that was interesting was that Mars, the planetary warrior, entered Leo a couple days before the election. Both Kamala and Donald have Mars in Leo, which is very strong, winning, very strong competitor. However, for Donald Trump, that's in his first house. Plus, Mars is right on his ascendant. So Mars is really a significator for Donald Trump in the election chart. So Mars being in a strong position favored Donald Trump, even though Kamala also has Leo Mars, it favored Trump's astrology a little bit more. So it's like, see, they have these similar things, but in both cases, it was more exact with Trump's alignment than hers. The only reason that I can think that some astrologers thought she was going to win too is because of, and I still think that there's a possibility that something could happen that causes Joe to have to step down before his presidency is over, and Kamala may have to step in and serve as president until inauguration. That's still a possibility. And again, I always say this, astrologers aren't psychics. There is never 100% certainty in what we are seeing. It's a language of mathematical probabilities, but we are reading the cosmos. The planets and the stars are testifying. They're reflecting back to us what's going on planet Earth. The stars and the planets are not making it happen. They are reflecting back to us what is happening. As above, so below. And as within, so without. So those were a couple of things I wanted to say. Another thing I wanted to say is that in Trump's astrology, he is still in danger. He's still in the same danger that he was in when he was initially assassinated, or the attempt at the assassination happened, and the second attempt. He's still got that alignment happening around his midheaven that is very volatile and shows that he is still in danger. I think from the astrology and from looking at Vance's astrology as well, there's a very high likelihood that something could happen to Trump, whether it's his own health or a successful attempt at his life. I'm not asking this to happen. I'm in no way advocating violence. I don't wish violence against any human being. I'm just saying what I read in the stars. It looks like he is still in danger and that something could happen to him either with his health or through an act of harm to him, where Vance becomes the president in April. So that's also a big possibility still. So there are still like twists and turns to this election story. I don't think it's quite over yet. I also think that, and this is really silly, but I also think that Trump will pardon Diddy, but I digress because I don't really want to talk about that, but maybe I should. I actually met Donald Trump once in my life, and it was back in the late 90s at the opening of this hotel and resort, Atlantis in the Bahamas. It was 98, and I was there with a bunch of friends, some of who were high profile celebrities whose names I won't bring into this. But one night we were at dinner, and at the table right next to us, so you know how people are at the table next to you and you start the conversation with them, it was Trump, and guess who he was with? Puffy, Russell Simmons, and Naomi Campbell. That was the table. Trump with all black people. That was my first introduction to him. I mean, this is a very, very long time ago. This was 98. But, you know, he was all weekend, he was hanging with the blacks. So anyway, am I going to keep this? I think I am, because the sun is setting and I'm going to lose natural light, so I can't re-record. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So, what else did I want to say about the results? Oh, so I wanted to offer a spiritual perspective on what's going on, you know, and I don't mean to laugh or make light of it, because I know that a lot of people are hurting and really sad right now. And I've had time to deal with the knowledge of how this was going to work out. So I don't have that like shock and surprise and disappointment. Do I think it sucks that like someone can run on the white supremacist ticket and win? Yeah, I do think that that sucks, but I'm also very realistic about what's going on here in America. And, you know, I said it in the first forecast video I did. The Democrats versus the Republicans is the white supremacist power structure. That's it. And America was founded on that. And we are in America's Pluto return, which I talked about in that first forecast video. I also talked about it in my Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn video. If you want more context, go watch those videos. There's a lot of valuable astrological knowledge in those videos. There's a Pluto video I posted on September 1st when it first came back to the 29th degree of Capricorn, I think, and then I posted when it went direct. So there's 2 Pluto videos I posted in the recent months, and they will provide a lot of context. But basically, this is America's Pluto return. Pluto was at like 27, 28 degrees in America's chart at the signing of the Declaration of Independence in July 4th, 1776. They didn't know where Pluto was. The founding forefathers were Freemasons. They did know the astrology, and they did time and date it according to the astrology. But Pluto hadn't been discovered yet, so it was in their blind spot. And it's not in our blind spot anymore, and it needs to be addressed. So America having its Pluto return from 248 years ago, we are dealing with the karmic consequences of how this country was founded on white supremacy, you know? And it's like, we're not going to get past that until we get past that. You know, there is a karmic debt to pay, and it will be paid. And, you know, I even had friends that were saying, well, you know, me and my friends aren't white supremacists, and we didn't vote for that. But it's not about us that are necessarily here right now. We're part of a much larger story of the history of this country, and we're the ones carrying the torch right now. And that's why, you know, I do want to offer some hope. That's why, you know, our souls chose to be here at this time, at this critical time. And this is a changing of the guards. I mean, I'm getting ready to record a Pluto into Aquarius video where I'm going to talk about the 20-year arc of Pluto and Aquarius beginning November 19th, 2024, going all the way to beginning November 19th, 2024, taking us all the way to 2044. It's a 20-year arc of Pluto and Aquarius. Everything about the culture is about to change. Everything about how we live life on planet Earth is about to change. But I found it interesting that Pluto went back to 29 degrees Capricorn just for the 2 months of the election. That was one of the things that let me know we are going to elect somebody who represents the very worst qualities of the old world. 29 Capricorn, the 29th degree, the anoretic degree, the destroyer degree. The most honorary degree of every sign is the 29th degree. It's the last degree, and it always carries the most shadow qualities of that sign. You know, Capricorn, you know, the most shadowy qualities are, you know, greed and power and ambition and top-down hierarchical structures, governments, institutions, like all of that kind of stuff, you know. And then Pluto switching to Aquarius, when it gets to 0 degrees Aquarius, we're going to be at the point of all possibilities. And that's why, you know, it's up to us to co-create with these energies and dream the dream of the new world. That's the other place of hope that I saw. Neptune in the last degrees of Pisces is forming a very fertile water earth sextile with Pluto and Capricorn. Uranus in the last degrees of Taurus, a very abundant kind of trine with Pluto, and also a sextile with Neptune. So we have these like earth and water trines and sextiles going on. Very, very fertile soil to create. Neptune is the dream, you know. Pluto is digging deep. Uranus is invention and innovation and shaking things up. And, you know, we are in an opportunity to dream the dream of the future as the people who are here now during this astrology of the changing of the guards. But a lot of people are so hanging on to that old world instead of embracing the fact that this shit is going to crumble, excuse my language, and like bring it the fuck on, because it's about time. Look at the history of America. Look at how we've, you know, Americans have treated their own people within, from the Native Americans to Black Americans to immigrants to how we treat the rest of the world. Like, there is a karmic price to pay, and by golly, it looks like we're about to pay it. But it's up to us to rise to the occasion and rise up. And this is the other thing I was going to say. There is no president that was going to ever save us. Kamala wasn't going to save us, and Trump can't destroy us. Part of the reason this is happening is for us to realize that we hold the power, and we're going to have to come to that and rise up in that and take it back. And, you know, the Pluto and Aquarius era is about power to the people, but we don't get it. They're not handing it to us on a silver platter. No, we are going to have to fight for that power, you know. And, you know, another thing I wanted to say, I'm so excited, I'm saying so much, but so Pluto was in Capricorn when the founding forefathers signed the Declaration of Independence. Oh, it's getting dark in here and I don't want to turn on the light and stop the video. But Pluto was in Aquarius during the Civil War and the French Revolution. So as Pluto goes into Aquarius, we are heading towards that energy of Civil War, French Revolution. You know, we've still got like World War vibes going on because of the Mars-Pluto oppositions that are taking place. One took place 2 days before the election. There's a couple more coming at the beginning of the year. We're going to be seeing a bunch of protests. We're going to be seeing more protests in the spring. Like, it's on like Donkey Kong. Like, but it needs to be. This is what needs to happen. And that's why Trump got this position, because he is so provocative and he is so divisive that he is going to incite the movement that needs to happen to take it much further. There's going to be a counterpoint to the evil, to the fascism, or whatever you want to call it, to, you know, the greed, the abuse of power, all of that. There will be a counterpoint, but we, the people, have to take our power and own our power and rise up. And we have to make that change, you know? And I think that perhaps people would have been complacent if Kamala had won. I'm just trying to make sense of it, because I know that if it's written in the cosmos, that it's in divine order, and that it is all about an evolutionary push towards more progressive politics in the future. And that's basically what I wanted to stop in and say this evening. I really kind of got really excited there, but I just wanted to say that I think I really hit on most of the points that I wanted to make. And yes, and for artists, my artists, I'm an artist, and mostly I've read for artists all my life. A lot of my friends are artists. This is the time to create. That's how we can change the world. Creativity changes hearts. Art changes hearts and souls, you know? Voting is important, but creating is even more important. And taking back our own power and rising up and sticking together and rising as the people together for what we want is how we get what we want. No president is going to give it to us or take it away from us if it's what we want, and we band together and we fight for that. And yes, Aquarius is a sign of futurism. It's a sign of where Pluto is going, Pluto and Aquarius. Futurism, humanitarianism, technology and, advancements, AI, all of that stuff. But the revolution, and it's an air sign. So we're moving to an era that's a lot less about our stuff and our things and our money and more about concepts and ideas and humanitarian ideals in the future. But it's also, and even though the revolution is coming, it's also a revolution of consciousness. Pluto and Aquarius is about a revolution in consciousness. And we are on the precipice of that for the collective. So even if it doesn't make sense to our little human brains, what happened was written in the stars, which means it's in divine order, which means that we must rise up to the occasion of the invitation from the universe to create, co-create the universe, the world that we want with the energies that are at play and on the table right now. And with that, I will sign off. And thank you for joining me. Please contact me for your own personal reading. We can talk about your personal astrology and what it's going to look like in this new Pluto and Aquarius era that we're entering. The Pluto and Aquarius era is so much of it is about how we use our unique gifts to contribute to the group, to the collective, to the whole, and how that makes it all work. So, and everything's going to be changing. All the jobs are going to be changing, the way we eat, the way we do medicine, sex, like everything is changing. But stay tuned for my Pluto and Aquarius video, because I'm going to be breaking down how every aspect of the culture is about to shift. And also, I'm going to do a year ahead look at 2025 video too, because 2025 is really the year that everything changes. All of the outer planets are changing signs. We're going from all this earth, water energy to fire and air energy. But we can use these current earth, water energies that are very fertile right now at the last degrees of the sign to plant the seeds that we want to bloom and grow when the light and the air hits it at 0 degrees. So definitely contact me for a reading. Let's talk about all of this with your chart. I would love to read for you. I read on Zoom, so I can read for people anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. The lights went down on me, so it's time to end this conversation. But yeah, we're facing our shadow. It's time. America's facing its shadow, and we have to not back down. We have to do the work. We have to do the shadow work, man. I talked about that in the New Moon of Scorpio video too. And yeah, God is bigger than everything. God has more power than Donald Trump or Putin or Netanyahu or Kamala Harris. And, the language of the cosmos, the star, the sky, this is written by God. And, and I have transmitted what I'm reading in my translation of the language to you with love in my heart for what I do and for sharing it with others. And yeah, I guess I just want to finish by saying love is the most powerful force in the universe, period. Thank you for joining me.